This is an epic story of cosmic proportions.
Stunts! The bad guys are closing in.
We're gonna hide you.
Nope, we're gonna beat this shit out of him. I never forget a fist. I don't mean it like that.
Nothing like a good twist.
Who doesn't love a twist?
Hi there. How
Hey,
are you?
Scott.
Scott Menzel. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
As you know, I saw the movie at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
Thank you.
I have to ask, like, what was it like for you going back to that festival after Atomic Blonde?
It was fun. You know, I mean, because that was such a moment as well in my career to have that screening go so well. And like, you know, we exploded after South by. I love the energy of that festival. And I love that people are there to enjoy movies, and it's not, there's not a lot of cynicism involved in it. It's like, they're just people that love movies. And I think that's what we did with Fall Guy. We really wanted to make a great version of a popcorn movie, like the best version possible. And I think every turn we were like, what would the audience want here? And then I had the two best actors in the world delivering it, you know. We want to make them laugh here. Okay, then let's make them laugh. We want to make them feel here. Well, then let's make them feel. So when you could take people on a ride like that and then have them celebrate it like they did at South by, like it was amazing. Felt so good.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, as an audience member, you just feel the excitement. You know what I was explaining to the people who I talked to today, like the energy that this movie has is like undeniable. Like you feel it in every frame of this movie. It feels like a passion project. It feels like a love letter to not just, you know, like everyone's saying the stunt community, but like the entire movie industry. And I think that's what makes this movie so incredibly special.
Thank you. And it really is. I mean, and Ryan has said it a couple times recently in the press. It's like, we did think about the audience every day. And you don't always do that. You know, you're telling a story and you're thinking about the characters and you're thinking about, but we had those covered. I mean, I had two great actors that were bringing these characters to life. We were able to rest on that they're relatable and they're authentic because they had it locked. We could also then lean into how do we make this moment memorable? And the flexibility we had on set to change scenes and make magic moments happen because of the confidence of everybody and the experience of everybody. And it's a world we're all so familiar with. It's making a movie. It was great. And that's a really special place to be because you're not so much a slave to the story, the script, you're a slave to the moment. And we really embraced it on this movie, and it shows. You know, we were having fun, and we were embracing the fun.
Oh, absolutely. So I have a couple questions I would love to ask you, pick your brain on. And I want to start with this one. As someone who, you know, is so passionate about the stunt community, has worked as a former stuntman, what are the reservations that you have to face when you're working with actors who aren't used to stunt work in the same way that you are?
You just have to encourage them and build a safe place, you know, and you should do an evaluation of their physical abilities, and then you build confidence with their abilities. And, you know, I think I've made a career of, part of my career has been taking unsuspecting people and turning them into action stars, you know? And I think, you know, Bob Odenkirk in Nobody is an example of like, you know, you would never expect him to be able to do those things, but through the process that we had, it's like, you know, building the foundation of some martial arts and then pulling out his attributes and then designing sequences that he's really strong at, you know, and then again, just building trust and confidence. It comes from being a stunt performer. That's what you do a lot of times when you're working as a stunt double. You're testing the rig, you're showing them how to do it. They're watching you do it multiple times, then you do it at half the distance with them, and then they end up doing it. And then you're like, I wanted to do that stunt, and now they're doing it. But that's what's great. Like, you want to try and get the actors to do as much as possible and keep the illusion for the character and and the experience. And so I try to do that on all my films, and you just have to build trust. It takes
You
time.
nail it every time. You nail it every time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, there's so much about your movies that I love. The number one thing is that every single one of them is, you know, everyone throws around that quote, see it on the biggest screen possible. But your movies are like one of those rare exceptions where every time, and I mean, going back to Nobody, it was a shame I actually watched that movie at home. I didn't get to see that one on the biggest screen possible, but they're such great popcorn movies, and I love that. This movie has so many incredible scenes that I just feel like every movie you do, you just continue to up the ante on the stunts, right? Like it's like, we're going to make this even more outrageous, bigger, bigger, bigger. So my question is, what was the most challenging stunt scene in this film? And what were like the logistics behind that scene?
Wow, it's hard because they all had their unique logistical qualities. Like, you know, the opening scene where Ryan does the big descender, it's him doing the stunt, but the logistics of getting the building and the permits and the rigging that we had to put up inside this building and the cantilevers and the science and the physics that the stunt team deals with. You don't think stunt teams are dealing with math. We're dealing with math and physics all the time because you're maximizing safety and amplifying spectacle, and you need science to help you. That was a hard one. Obviously, the cannon roll that was set the world record. Was a hard one, and probably the hardest in the sense that people have been trying to break that record for a long time, and we were trying to do it on sand, which was because I liked sand, so then I gave them that curveball. The stunt team's like, thanks, we're gonna do it on sand? Awesome. Just makes it like 20% harder. So to build out the logistics, the rehearsals, the number of times they rehearsed with cars beforehand, you know, the pressures and man, if people knew the amount of time and effort it goes into doing practical stunts at the level that we did on this movie, I think they'd be blown away. You know, that was months in the making, that role, you know, the descender, months of paperwork, the car jump towards the end of the movie was another, we built that truck custom, you know, to have the suspension to take the landing. And so it's a huge undertaking to do that stuff. And it just goes by in a flash, but audiences appreciate it because it's like, that's real. That was real. They know it's real and they feel it. And then it's worth it.
You know, obviously it's going to be hard not to talk to you and not bring up this subject, but you know, why do you feel it is taking so incredibly long to get the stunt community recognized by these major guilds? Like, why is this happening? Like, you got hair and makeup, you got all these other things, but like, these are people who are literally putting their life on the line every time they step forward onto a film set. Like, why is this taking so long?
Well, it's also that, like, you know, stunt performers risk their life and limb and like, but it's also, they creatively design the sequences. Like most movies, the stunt department is choreographing those action scenes. You get the script and it says, you know, car chase, they go around a corner, they do this. And then you take that and you interpret it and you choreograph a car chase that's 20 times bigger than what was on the page, and then the director curates it, and you are doing what the costume designer does with costumes, you're doing what the hair and makeup does with the hair. You are creative and creating story and action and all of that. So it's really about noting, because as performers, we're supposed to not be seen, and that's sort of been the deal. And I think that's part of why it's been so long. It's like, well, you guys are the unseen magic, and that's sort of the unwritten code. But what I'm really trying to fight for is that this is about what we design, and this is what we create. And it's not so much the one stunt, it's the the idea of that stunt. You know, it's like that was not in the script. That was now created by the stunt team that came up with this idea that this should be on a building and these should fall off instead of this thing. And so it's happening. There's a lot of great people working on it. And you could see by the Academy, you know, celebrating at this last awards that, you know, hopefully in the near future that they can recognize it.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you again for the time to talk today. I really love this movie. Let me know if there's anything that I can do to help promote it and push it, because it's just so great. And thank you again for your time, and keep doing what you do, because you're one of the best.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It makes me feel great. And we'll be calling. Sell. Let's go. We got to get people to see it. Okay.
Yeah. Good luck at CinemaCon. I'm sure it's going to go over really well there too.
Go. Thank you.